Hey everyone, Hefe here. Today, on Beer You Beer Me, we are actually going to be discussing hard cider. This cider's for you. So I know what you're thinking. What am I doing sitting here on a beer channel talking about hard cider? Because it's good, damn it. But also, hard ciders and beer have a long history together. A lot of places that would make beer would also make a hard cider as well. Back in the day, a whole lot of people were doing this just as much as they were brewing beer. Also didn't take as much time as brewing beer. Now, what is the definition of a hard cider? Quite simply, it's an alcoholic beverage made from fermented apples. A lot of people think that hard cider is literally just apple juice and booze put together, but it's a little bit more complicated than that. When brewing beer, there are 4 main ingredients to consider it an actual beer. In hard cider, there are only 2 main ingredients that have to qualify it to be a hard cider: apples and yeast. Sounds simple enough, I'm sure, but apples can be grown pretty much anywhere on the planet. So mashing it up and turning it into a beverage was just natural for so many different cultures. And just like beer, it went through a whole bunch of different changes in its lifetime. The original hard ciders came from wild grown apples, things that you would naturally see growing around in nature. Just like any berries the scavengers would find in the early days of man, they would take these and they would mash them up into their juices and they would let them sit and ferment. And although at the time they didn't really know what they were doing, it was an accident very much like the invention of beer. As the juices of the apples would sit and marinate in itself, the wild yeast from the surrounding area would also tend to get into that beverage as well. Let it sit for long enough, even just a week, and you'll start to see some changes in the beverage, especially the way it makes you feel. What kind of apples are used in ciders today? We still have orchards that use wild apples to make the hard ciders. Those types of ciders are called heritage ciders. Where on the other hand, now that we can mass produce apples in any way, shape, and form that we like, we have bigger breweries that have full orchards of whatever apples and whatever flavors they're looking for. These are modern ciders. Modern ciders are usually made from culinary apples, or the ones that you go to the grocery store and see. The Gala apples, the Pink Ladies, even Honey Crisp. Ciders are made all over the world to this day. It's actually more of a mainstay beverage in the UK, but has become super popular in the United States as well. Every country has a different quota as to what qualifies it to be a hard cider. In the United States, every hard cider has to be at least 50% apple juice. Now, the other 50% could be, well, anything. Just like beer, there are many different ingredients that people throw into their hard ciders to give it different zhuzh, if you will. Other ingredients might include hops, what we obviously use in beer to give it a nice bitter taste. Other fruits, clearly if you're gonna make a fruit basket, just toss it all in. And spices, cinnamon, nutmeg, anything like this to give it a very seasonal flavor. A related beverage to a hard cider would be called a perry cider, which is made with pear juice, not technically a hard apple cider, but a light crisp cider all on its own. But the term perry cider basically means a light cider. One of the most popular reasons that this beverage exists is because it is naturally gluten-free, which helps a lot of people out there who are looking for a good substitute to beer who either have celiacs or a strong gluten intolerance. This way they can pull right up to the pub, enjoy a cider with their friends who are drinking beer, and still enjoy an adult beverage. There are some misconceptions when it comes to hard ciders. A lot of people think that hard ciders don't have nearly as much alcohol as beer does. Absolutely false. You can find some really strong ciders out there, and most ciders clock in at about 5% alcohol, which is the average beer in America. And of course, there are plenty of different styles of cider. Well, we're not just talking about the modern versus the heritage, but when it comes to different styles of ciders, they're really just smaller categories. You have your dry ciders, which are crisp and have a lot of white wine characteristics. Sweet ciders, very sugary, sweet, over-the-top super apple juice. Fruity ciders. A lot of places make ciders with a prominent other fruit, such as pineapple or strawberry or peaches. So many different fruit ciders are out there, and everybody's always experimenting to make the new big hot craze. They even have pink lemonade ciders or cotton candy ciders. Imperial ciders are the ones with a lot of ABV, lots of flavor, and super boozy. Then of course, there's barrel-aged ciders, where you get your oaky and dry notes from the barrel and definitely get a booziness depending on what it was aged in. So as you can see, hard ciders can be almost as versatile as beer, but still be a very impressive, tasty beverage. I sure hope you enjoyed what you saw, and if you did, like and subscribe, share it with your friends, and don't be afraid to give yourself a try of a cider. These beverages tend to go under the radar for a lot of beer drinkers out there, but sometimes it's nice to change the pace. Check out your local ciders in your area to see what they have to offer. And until next time, this cider's for me.